Good afternoon, folks. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor at Madison365 with your daily update for Wednesday, March 24th. News today is, I'll be frank with you, not very good. From looking at the coronavirus numbers, we remember yesterday we had no data to give you. And today we're running a little bit late because we're still trying to catch up with some of this data, which, when they publish 2 days worth of data at once, it's important to us to figure out what data is from yesterday, what data is from today. So we've been Stephanie has been working through this diligently. So that's why I'm a little bit one of the reasons I'm a little bit late today. But before we get into that, I want to make one plug for the Men's Leadership Summit, which is coming up April 14th and 15th. We just announced today this panel on entrepreneurship. We're going to have 12 different panel discussions on a wide range of topics, from fatherhood to path to the C-suite to nonprofit leadership. But the entrepreneurship panel we're announcing today is a pretty big set of guys. Here we have Arvind Gopalnatram from the Milwaukee Bucks. He's the Vice President of Community Engagement there, and he's going to be the kind of moderator of this panel. And then you have Zach Ellis and Winslow Sargent, who are venture capital guys, and he can tell you about what does a venture capitalist look for in an entrepreneurial idea. And then Israel Squires, who is the director of equity, team equity, which is a division of Titletown Tech up in Green Bay. So big deal guys in entrepreneurship. If starting a business is within your reach or something you've thought about doing, these are the guys you want to hear from. And these guys are all going to be on the same panel on April 14th at the Men's Leadership Summit. It is free. You can go WisconsinLeadershipSummit.com right now and register for free. It's April 14th and 15th. Okay, so that's out of the way. Let's talk bad COVID news. I mean, again, this is not November level 7,000 cases a day. Okay, but what we always want to look at is trends, right? So we want to look at not only what the numbers are today, but which direction the numbers are going. And today, after having skipped yesterday and getting caught up today, we see that the numbers are going up, basically. Now, the good news is that while these numbers are going up, also vaccination numbers are going up. So and we're getting more people vaccinated every day than there are new cases. So, in one sense, like the race to get everybody vaccinated is ahead of the race to get everybody infected, that's the virus's goal, right? So that's why it's not time to panic, but it is time to really, really focus on getting vaccine not only rolled out, but into vulnerable communities, right? Okay, so here's the numbers. Yesterday, there was I wonder if this is part of the issue yesterday, is that there was actually a negative number of tests reported, which is I don't know how to explain that exactly, other than there was some data cleanup done so that the net number of total negative tests actually went down. But we still end up with 353 new positive cases yesterday, with negative 151 total tests, which doesn't make any sense, right? But again, that was probably just a data cleanup situation. Today, we are reporting 6,300 new tests, which is more than we've seen in a long time. So that's good, right? More tests is always better. But 776 of those are positive. So that's over 12%. So what that tells us is, going on 1,100 new cases in the past 2 days, which is more than we've seen. We've seen in the range of 350 to 450. So to see 776 new cases today, not great. Now again, that might be some data cleanup. It might be these positive tests are from a month ago. It's okay. It doesn't matter. These are not active cases right now. but it might not be that either. It might be that cases are actually going up. So what that tells us is our 7-day average of new cases goes up to 453. It had been down as low as like 370 something a few days ago. And the other piece of bad news is that the 7-day positive test rate, that's kind of the gold standard number for me. That's like the one most important number, is up to 2.5. Okay, it's still below 3. 3.0 is kind of that threshold where if you're above 3.0, then you losing control a little bit. If you're below 3.0, you've got it. You still have the virus pretty well contained, right? Now that was 2 weeks ago. That was down to 2.0. Not even 2 weeks ago. 10 days ago, that was down to 2.0, and now it has inched up ever. It was like 2.2 for 3 days. It was 2.3 for 4 days, and now today is 2.5. And the reason this concerns me, one reason, is that this mimics what happened in June of last year. For a good period of June last year, we were at 5,000 active cases, positive test rate below 3. Like, it was a little bit high. It was like 2.7, 2.8, but below 3. And as soon as the end of July came around, things started to inch upward a little bit. We were in June of last year, we were seeing 200, 300 new cases a day, which at the time seemed like a lot. And then July 4th, we see 700 new cases, and then we're going up, 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 up. So that's what I'm concerned is happening because like we've been saying for 2 weeks, things are looking really good. Don't let your guard down. And I think it seems as if either we're catching up on data and these positive new cases aren't really that concerning because they're older cases that are just getting corrected into the data, or we are letting our guard down and things are spreading a little bit more, or both. I mean, it could be kind of both of those things. Now, we also report 21 deaths over the past 2 days, 10 today and 11 yesterday. So that inches our 7-day death average up to 6, which is still, it was 5 earlier in the week. So that's still not terrible. 21 fatalities. And some of at least 2 of those 21 were people in their 40s. So a little younger than you'd normally expect to see. But still, that's too many people dying. But the average is, on a day-to-day basis is still pretty low. So that's kind of the bad news. The takeaway is, even if you're vaccinated, even if everybody around you is vaccinated, keep your mask on. Until everybody around you is vaccinated, keep your mask on, because even if you're vaccinated, you can still spread this thing. The vaccine does not prevent you from getting it or spreading it. It just prevents you from getting really sick from it. Okay, it makes it less likely that you'll get it, but you still might get it, and you still might breathe it out on other people who aren't vaccinated. So keep your mask on, keep your distance, keep ordering your groceries. Don't be hanging out in big crowds if you don't need to. I worry that there's going to be the next health order is going to either be the same as it is now, or actually rein things back in a little bit if these numbers continue to trend as they are. Now, Dane County, which is the health order I'm talking about, Dane County is still actually in pretty decent shape. Dane County, the positive test rate is still below 1. It's like 0.8, which is pretty, which is good. But statewide, things are starting to turn the corner the wrong direction. Now let us talk about some good news though. Let's talk about vaccinations, and I'll get to that. I see your question there, Corey. I will get to that in just a second. Unfortunately, I haven't, because we're like running late getting the data today. I haven't gotten to look at the county breakdown just yet, but I can take a look at it for you in a second. But if we are looking at vaccinations, we had just under 58,000 doses administered in the past 24 hours. 18,000 people finished. So either got the first Johnson & Johnson or the second Moderna/Pfizer shot. Another just under 40,000 got their one dose, got their first dose. So that's, again, that's pretty good. That's moving right along. We're still averaging about 45,000 doses a day, 7 days a week, which seems good to me, and we'll be able to kind of watch and see if that continues to go up as more people become eligible, as more supply comes in, as you get like dentists now allowed to administer them. We'll see if that speeds up even faster. We are now about 15.3% of the population has been vaccinated. The goal is to get to 80, and the governor has said, and the DHS has said, we will have enough supply to get to 80% by July, by the end of July, which is great. However, supply isn't the only problem, right? It's not just a supply thing. You have to get it to the people. Supply, we can have 12 million doses in a warehouse, and it doesn't do any good. It's a matter of getting it to the people, and especially getting it to those vulnerable populations, because when numbers start to turn the wrong way, you know who gets hit hardest first, right? It's Black folks, it's Latino folks, it's Asian folks, it's Indigenous folks. That's how it went last spring. That's how it's going to go next if we don't clamp this back down. Now, to your question, Corey asks about county by county. Are we seeing counties go up more than others? And I will tell you, if you give me just 1 second, let me just flip over to a different spreadsheet here. It looks like, give me 1 second, sorry. Restart this. That's not right. Sorry. Milwaukee County is a bit on the high side today, as you'd expect. 192 of the 700 that we saw. So, almost 200 out of the 776 were in Milwaukee County, which is, exactly what you would expect. But when you look at per capita, which is kind of a better measure, it's actually still the smaller counties. Iron County actually leads. Only 3 new cases in Iron County, but that puts them in first place per capita because that's 52 cases per 100,000 residents. So we're not seeing the single county that has like hundreds of new cases per 100,000 residents. We are seeing Milwaukee County with 192. We're seeing Rock County with 24, Racine County with 27, Outagamie County with 24, 66 here in Dane County. So basically where you would expect the larger numbers to be in the more urban counties, but the more rural counties are the higher levels per capita. Your top 8 counties in cases per capita are all very rural. Iron, Florence, Dorr, Greene, Crawford, Lafayette, Richland, and Jefferson. And Milwaukee County then is number 9 with about 20 cases per 100,000 residents today. So it's a great question, Corey. I appreciate you asking it. Good news from Margie. Thank you for that. I haven't. I mean, what I've heard anecdotally is that if you're trying to get an appointment online, it's kind of like getting concert tickets, right? You got to get on right in the morning, and you got to refresh it a few times till you get it. But that most people are having a pretty decent experience. If you don't freak out about it, it might take you a couple of tries, it might take you a couple of days, but it hasn't been a big problem for most people. I think there's just so many options. That's the nice thing, is there are lots of options. You can call your primary care provider if you have one. You can call your county health department. You can go to Walgreens. You can go to Walmart. Pretty soon you'll be able to go to your dentist. So that's one. Well, it might be confusing. Sometimes it's like almost difficult to have too many options, too many things to choose from. But it seems as though, for the most part, if you have good internet access, if you have a primary care physician, if you have, if your first language is English, it's not that hard. It is. There are significant, however, barriers to access for a lot of folks. So the state will continue to work on that. So now that is the coronavirus news for today. As I said, not great news. One hopes that it is just kind of a data catch up, and that we'll start to see it drift back down, and this will be just a little bump. But we will keep our fingers crossed when we run the numbers just tomorrow, and see how it goes. Lots more news to talk about. Stay right there. We'll be back. I'll be here. We'll be back right after this. Don't scroll away. If you didn't know, we have job listings on Madison365.org. You do now. It's Madison365.org/jobs. If you're looking for work, if you're looking for an employer who values diversity, check those job listings. If you're hiring, check those job listings. It's very affordable and very easy to do. All right. So you may have heard of One City Schools here in Madison. It's a private nonprofit school. It's a public charter school, but it's run by a private nonprofit organization. And it serves primarily students of color. Started as a preschool and now has a state charter. It currently serves kindergarten through second grade, and the charter has been expanded to fourth grade, so they'll start serving fourth grade beginning next year. And then, beginning 2022, they're actually going to go pre-K through 12th grade. They're going to continue through the second grade, I think through fourth grade actually, in their Southside location. But they actually also are buying this building in Monona with a gift of about $12 million from Pleasant Rowland, who you might know was the founder of American Girl and is now a philanthropist, basically. She's been very involved in a lot of projects like this, Overture Center for the Arts, for example. But they're buying this building in Monona. It's from WPS, and they're going to renovate it and turn it into basically a middle school and high school for specifically, aimed at students of color. But it's going to be a Madison Metro School District charter school run basically on a state charter. And that's a little bit complicated, but it's the upshot is that anybody who lives in, you don't even have to live in Madison, actually. Anybody who lives kind of in the area can send their kids to this school with no tuition because it's a public school. But look into it. It's an interesting model, and it's an interesting idea, and it's big for One City Schools to expand all the way up to 12th grade. Also in the news today, basketball. This is Roy Boone here on the left, and on the right is the first round draft pick of the Madison Mavericks, which start their first ever season on April 10th. This is a new basketball league called the Official Basketball Association, which I just love that, the Official Basketball Association. It's a semi-professional league. The Madison Mavericks are one of the inaugural teams in this league. It'll be coached by Curtel Robinson and Devon Pryor. And the league was started by Tamara Moore, who's a former WNBA player. who approached Roy about getting a team in Madison. Roy is going to be the owner of the team. He's a longtime basketball coach. He played for East. He played for UW. In fact, if you're a Badger fan, you fondly remember the 2000 March Madness tournament when they were the 8th seed and they beat Arizona in the second round and went on to the Final Four. That was like the first time Badger basketball was really good in my lifetime. But Roy was a freshman on that team. And he's just been around Madison. He coaches at Madison College. He runs a summer rec league. You know, he's just like a Madison basketball guy, right? So he's a natural to start this. So they're going to start their home games in Wisconsin Dells because of health regulations in Dane County. So their first home game is going to be up in the Dells, and then they're hoping to move to Warner Park Community Center at some point. But the team is here. They're working out. They're practicing at the Princeton Club, and their home opener is against the Green Bay Titans. So it's exciting. I'm a sucker for minor league sports, as you could probably tell by my enthusiasm for Forward Madison, the soccer team. We'll talk about them in a minute also. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to getting into some semi-pro basketball games here in Madison, and we'll see if we can cover them too. You know, I think they should get some coverage. So we might be looking for a basketball correspondent soon. Speaking of Forward Madison, Connor Tobin, the captain, has been re-signed to the club. He's a center back. He was flirting with retirement for the past 2 seasons. He's one of, I think, 4 players who have now signed on for their 3rd consecutive year with Madison, with Forward Madison, meaning that they've been with the team the entire time the team has existed. And we're actually going to have Connor as the veteran. He's 34 years old. And as the captain, we're going to have him on the show tomorrow. So watch for that. If you want anything you think I should ask him, let me know about Forward Madison, about the upcoming season, or about, soccer in general. Finally today, this is an artist rendering of a new casino that is going to be built in Beloit. This is a Ho-Chunk Nation project, and this is an artist rendering that was provided to us by the Ho-Chunk Nation. It appears that this is going to happen now because just today, the Governor Evers gave his sort of thumbs up to this project. Basically, what happens is that the Department of the Interior, which is at the federal level, had already said that it expressed an opinion that there were 32 acres in Beloit that should be annexed to the Ho-Chunk Nation so they could build this facility. And once the federal government does that, then the state has to concur. That the governor of the state has to give it, say, yes, I agree, that should happen. And now it can move forward. And Governor Evers officially announced that concurrence today. So that's a big hurdle. It's a big step forward for this project, which the Ho-Chunk Nation, in its application materials and its description of the project, has said it will provide about 1,500 jobs for Rock County. So that's a pretty big deal for that neck of the woods, that it got that final thumbs up from the governor. So that is that's all I have for you today. We'll have more news tomorrow morning. So check the morning podcast. It's only 10 minutes. We got that. It's usually up by 6 o'clock every morning. And that's it's the title's a little bit of a joke. It's sort of an inside joke for us that we always say our meetings are going to be half an hour and they're always like 90 minutes. So we say the podcast is only 10 minutes. It's usually at least 20. But it's good news. It's good analysis of the news. And if you wherever you get your podcasts, if you're a podcast type person, just search for It's Only 10 Minutes and you'll get that in your feed every single morning. So watch for that. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. I'll be back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. We'll see you then.
This is 365 Media.